My name is Harper Delaney. I'm 32 years old. And if you've ever wondered what it looks like when a relationship dies in real time, quietly, cleanly, with no screaming on one side, then let me tell you about the moment my fiancé finally stopped pretending. It wasn't the fight itself. Couples fight. Stress, money, weddings, those things can turn even good people sharp around the edges. No, it was the way he looked at me when he said it. Like he'd been waiting months to say the truth out loud. Like it was a power move. Like he expected me to fold. 6 weeks. That's how close we were to getting married. The venue was booked. The caterer was paid. Invitations were already out in people's hands. Actual paper proof that I was planning to build a life with him. His name is Ryan Mercer. He's 28. We'd been together 2.5 years. Engaged for 8 months. And if you asked anyone around us, they would have told you we made sense. I'm not rich, but I'm stable, comfortable. The kind of comfortable you earn with early mornings, busted knuckles, and choosing long-term security over short-term flex. I own a small HVAC company, built it 6 years ago, with a loan from my dad and a stomach full of stubbornness. I worked like I had something to prove because, honestly, I did. Now, I've got 12 employees and contracts with 3 major property management companies. I make about $180,000 a year after taxes. I own my house outright. I drive a paid-off truck. I've got a retirement fund building slowly, quietly, the way adults do when they're not trying to impress anyone. When Ryan and I met, I was low-key about all of it. Same truck, jeans and boots most days. No designer anything. No flashy vacations. He knew I owned a business, but I don't think he understood the scale. Not until about a year in, when he moved into my house and saw my office setup. The filing cabinets, the contracts, the invoices, the payroll system, the kind of boring, organized evidence that says, this isn't a hobby, this is a life. That's when things started to shift. Subtle at first, so subtle I could have sworn I was imagining it. Why do you drive that old truck when you could afford better, he'd say, like he was teasing. Or, my friend's fiancé bought her a Cartier bracelet. It's not even that crazy expensive. Or, we should look at houses in a nicer neighborhood, just to see what's out there. I told myself it was normal. People like nice things. People dream. People scroll social media and let it get into their heads. And I loved him, so I gave his words the best possible interpretation. That's what love does when it's trying to survive. It turns red flags into pink. The fight happened last Tuesday night. We were arguing about the wedding budget, not screaming, not throwing things. Just that tight, escalating tension where every sentence feels like it has a blade hidden inside it. Ryan wanted to add another $15,000 in upgrades. Better flowers. A live band instead of a DJ premium bar package. A more expensive photographer because, and I quote, I don't want our wedding to look cheap. I stared at him across the kitchen island, blinking slowly, like if I blinked hard enough, the audacity would disappear. We're already at $45,000, I said. That's more than I ever wanted to spend. His jaw tightened instantly, like I'd insulted him. You don't get it, he snapped. This is supposed to be the biggest day of my life. It can still be the biggest day of your life without a champagne tower, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. And that's when he launched into the speech. Everything he'd sacrificed to be with me, how he'd turned down other people, how he'd invested 2 years of his life, how he deserved a proper wedding. That word, invested, hit me weird. It landed like something you say about stocks, not love. So I asked carefully, what do you mean, invested? And that's when he snapped. He didn't just get angry. He got honest. Fine, he said, with this sharp, triumphant energy that made my skin go cold. You want the truth? He leaned forward slightly like he wanted to see my reaction up close. I'm only with you for the money, he said. I don't even love you. There are moments in life where time doesn't slow down. It stops. My brain went completely still, like someone hit a mute button inside my head. And the thing I'll never forget, the thing that kept replaying in my mind like a loop I couldn't shut off, was his face right after. He smirked. Not regret, not panic, not, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. A smirk. Like he'd finally played his trump card. Like admitting he was using me was supposed to make me, what? Feel guilty? Collapse? Beg him to stay? I didn't say a word. I just stared. He tilted his head. What? He asked, with that same smugness. Nothing to say? That's what I thought. Then he waved a hand like he was bored. Now can we please just add the upgrades and move on? I took a breath so controlled it almost scared me. Thanks for clarifying, I said. And then I turned and walked to my office and closed the door. For about 10 minutes, I heard him moving around the kitchen. opening drawers, pacing, muttering like I was the one being unreasonable. Then he knocked. "Babe," he called through the door, already annoyed. "Are you seriously sulking?" I didn't respond. Because I wasn't sulking. I was making calls. My hand didn't even shake when I dialed the wedding venue. "Hi," I said calmly when they answered. "This is Harper Delaney. I'm calling about my reservation for our date. I need to cancel." There was a pause. The woman on the line shifted into professional sympathy. "Oh, okay. I'm so sorry to hear that. You understand the deposit." "That's fine," I cut in gently. "Please process the cancellation. Thank you." I hung up and immediately called the caterer. Same conversation. I lost about $3,500 in deposits between the two. And I swear to you, I didn't care. Money can be replaced. Self-respect can't. Ryan must have heard my voice through the door because suddenly the knocking turned into pounding. "What are you doing?" he shouted. "Who are you calling?" I opened the door. He stood there with wide eyes now, panic replacing smugness like someone flipped a switch. "I'm canceling the wedding," I said. His mouth fell open. "You're what?" "Because of what you said," I replied. He immediately tried to backpedal like his life depended on it, because in that moment, it did. "I was angry," he snapped. "People say things when they're angry." "You said you don't love me," I said, my voice still disturbingly calm. "And you're only with me for money." I didn't mean it like that." "You smirked," I said. That stopped him. His throat bobbed. You smirked," I repeated. "You thought you won something. You thought admitting you were using me would make me shut up and give you what you wanted." I stepped back and looked at him the way you look at a stranger who just revealed something rotten under the surface. That tells me everything I need to know. His eyes went shiny instantly. Tears. Fast. Dramatic. Weaponized. "Please," he whispered. "Let's just talk about this. I love you. I do. I was just being dramatic." I nodded once, like I heard him. Then I said the words that made his face crack completely. "You need to pack a bag tonight." His brows slammed down. "What?" "We can figure out the rest of your stuff this weekend," I continued, "but you're not staying here tonight." The tears vanished as quickly as they came. Anger flooded in. "You can't do this," he said, voice rising. "We're engaged. This is my home, too." I didn't flinch. "This is my house," I said. "Your name isn't on anything." He stared at me for a long second, and then his expression changed. Not sadness, not heartbreak. Calculation. "Fine," he said softly, wiping his face like he was resetting. "But this isn't over." I tilted my head. "It is for me." He took a step toward the hallway, grabbed a duffel bag, and started throwing clothes into it with sharp, angry movements. His laptop, his toiletries, his watch charger. The essentials of someone who always plans for comfort. At the door, he turned back. "You're going to regret this," he said. "You're going to be alone and miserable, and you're going to wish you'd just listened to me." For a second, I felt something twist in my chest, not because I believed him, because part of me realized this was the first time I'd seen him fully drop the mask. And it was terrifying how quickly he went from please to punish. "Maybe," I said quietly, "but at least I'll know where I stand." He left, and when the door clicked shut, the house didn't feel peaceful. It felt hollow. I sat in my living room for a long time, staring at nothing, replaying every joke about my truck, every comment about upgrades, every time he lit up when money came into the conversation. Did I feel hurt? Yeah, but mostly I felt stupid. Stupid for making excuses. Stupid for calling it love when it might have been a transaction. I thought that was the end of it. I thought the truth, once spoken, would be enough to kill whatever illusion we had left. I didn't know that by morning my phone would be buzzing like a live wire. Oh, man. And that the people who raised him were about to show me exactly where he learned to treat love like an invoice. I woke up the next morning to the kind of silence that feels staged. No footsteps in the hallway, no shower running, no Ryan humming off key while he made coffee like he owned the kitchen. Just me, alone in my own house, staring at a ceiling fan that suddenly felt too loud. For a few seconds, my brain tried to do that soft, self-protective thing. Pretend none of it happened. Pretend last night was a bad dream. That Ryan was just downstairs. That the wedding spreadsheet was still open on my laptop. That there wasn't a crater in the middle of my life shaped exactly like his smirk. Then I rolled over, grabbed my phone, and the screen lit up like a warning sign. 23 missed calls. Texts stacked on top of each other like a collapsing tower. At first, it was the predictable stuff. "Harper, please call me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Can we just talk like adults? You're really going to throw everything away?" Then the tone shifted, like a mood swing you could feel through the glass. "You're making a huge mistake. You're being cruel. I was mad. You know I didn't mean it. Don't act like you're perfect. And then right there, like a slap, a text that made my stomach tighten. You owe me for the time I invested. I read it 3 times. Not because it was confusing, because my brain refused to accept that someone who'd slept beside me, eaten at my table, met my dad, kissed my forehead when I was tired, could reduce our entire relationship to a debt calculation. And what hit me hardest wasn't the entitlement. It was the language. Invested? Oh, as if love came with receipts. I set the phone down slowly and stared out the window at my driveway. His car wasn't there, obviously, but my body still expected it. That phantom expectation of someone who used to belong in your daily rhythm. I didn't respond. I got up, made coffee, moved through my morning like I was acting in a scene I hadn't rehearsed. I checked my security cameras first thing, something I'd never once felt the need to do in my own home. Then I went to my office and did what I always do when life tries to break me. I worked. Invoices. Payroll. A service call schedule that didn't care about my heartbreak. I told myself if I just keep moving, I won't fall apart. It almost worked. Until around noon when my phone rang again. A number I recognized. Ryan's mother. I hesitated with my thumb over the answer button because up until that moment, I genuinely believed his mom was reasonable. We weren't close, but she'd always hugged me, always smiled, always said things like, "I'm so glad Ryan found a woman who's got her head on straight." I answered. "Hello?" There was no greeting. No, "How are you?" No softness. Just a sharp inhale and then a voice already in motion, already angry. "What is this nonsense I'm hearing about you canceling the wedding?" I blinked once, slow. "Hi, Diane." "Oh, don't hi me," she snapped. "Ryan is devastated. He said you threw him out like he was trash. Over a fight. Over wedding stress. Are you out of your mind?" I felt something cold settle behind my ribs. "Did Ryan tell you what he said to me?" A pause, just long enough to confirm what I already suspected. "He said you were arguing about money and you overreacted. Couples fight, Harper. You don't throw away a relationship because someone said something stupid." I kept my voice calm on purpose. "He told me he's only with me for my money," I said. "He told me he doesn't love me." Silence. I could practically hear Diane recalculating. Then she did what people like her always do. She minimized the truth, so it didn't inconvenience her. "Well, even if he said that, he didn't mean it. You know how emotional he gets." I laughed once, not because it was funny, because it was unreal. "Emotional?" I repeated. He smirked while he said it. He acted like it was leverage. Diane's voice sharpened. "You're twisting it." "No," I said quietly. "I'm finally seeing it." And that should have been the end of the call. But Diane wasn't calling to understand. She was calling to pressure. Because that's what families like that do when their son loses a meal ticket. They don't comfort him. They scramble to plug the leak. "You're going to destroy him," Diane said, voice trembling with fury now. "He quit his job because he thought he was getting married. He has nothing now because of you." I froze. My mouth went dry so fast it felt like my tongue stuck to the roof of it. "He what?" Diane barreled on, mistaking my silence for guilt. "He quit 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks, Harper. He was going to focus on wedding planning, and then you two were going to start a family. That was the plan. He said you knew." My heart started thudding, not heartbreak this time. Alarm. Because that wasn't a plan I'd ever agreed to. I pressed my fingers to my forehead like I could physically hold my thoughts in place. "I didn't know he quit," I said slowly. "He told me he was taking time off. I assumed PTO. I did not know he resigned." Diane scoffed. "Well, what did he need a job for? You're the one with the company. You're the one with the money." There it was. Not even hidden. Not even dressed up. Just stated like a fact of nature. "Diane," I said, keeping my tone even, "I never told Ryan to quit. We never discussed him not working. Ever." "You implied it," she snapped instantly. "By proposing, by planning a life together, you implied he wouldn't have to struggle anymore." I felt my nails press into my palm. "I proposed a marriage," I said, "not an adoption." Her breath hitched, offended. "That's cruel." "What's cruel?" I said, voice tightening for the first time, "is your son admitting he doesn't love me, only wants my money, and then you calling to tell me I owe him financial security." "You're being heartless," Diane hissed. "He's 28. He's scared. He panicked. Men say stupid things when they're stressed." I swallowed. Then I made myself say it clearly, because sometimes you have to speak in a way people can't twist. "Ryan didn't say it in panic," I said. "He said it like a win. And even if he had panicked, love doesn't come back just because someone regrets the consequences." Diane went quiet again. Then her voice dropped lower, sharper. "So what is he supposed to do now?" "He's supposed to get another job," I said, "like every adult on Earth. Diane made a sound like I'd insulted her personally. You have ruined his life. I felt something in me harden. No, I said. He ruined his own life the moment he decided I was a bank account with legs. Diane hung up without another word. I stared at the phone in my hand, chest rising and falling too fast. And in that moment, something clicked into place that I hadn't fully admitted yet. Ryan didn't just think he could use me. His family thought so too. They'd already built a whole future in their heads where my money solved their son's life, where my business was his safety net, where my love wasn't love, it was a resource. I sat back in my chair, staring at the wall, trying to process the scale of what I'd almost married into. Then my phone rang again. Different number, Ryan's father. I almost didn't answer. But there was a part of me, stupid, hopeful, that thought maybe his dad would be the rational one. The one who'd say, I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. You did the right thing. I answered. Hello? Harper, a deep voice said, too calm, too practiced. This is Tom Mercer. Hi, Tom. He sighed like he was carrying the burden of my immaturity. Listen, he said, I'm going to talk to you man to man. Well, you know what I mean. Adult to adult. Ryan told us what happened. I think you're making a decision you're going to regret. I leaned back in my chair, eyes closed. Tom, I said, he told me he doesn't love me. Tom chuckled, actually chuckled, like I'd said something naive. Women say they hate their husbands all the time, he said. My wife tells me she can't stand me at least once a month. You let it roll off. That's marriage. I opened my eyes slowly, staring at my desk. That's not what this was, I said. It was stress, Tom insisted. The wedding, the money, the pressure. Ryan's a good kid. He's never had stability like this before. He got scared you'd pull away, so he said something stupid. There it was again. Stability like this. Not love, not partnership. Stability. Tom, I said, voice steady. He didn't say it in fear. He said it with triumph, like it was a weapon. Tom's patience thinned. Even so, he said. Is this really worth blowing up your whole future over? You're 32. You know how hard it is to find someone. You're going to throw away a marriage over words said in anger? I swallowed. My throat felt tight, not from tears, but from disbelief. A future built on a lie, I said quietly. Yes, I'd rather blow that up. Tom exhaled hard. You're being stubborn. I'm being clear. His tone shifted into something colder. No man is going to want a woman who bails at the first sign of trouble, he said. Marriage is work. You don't walk away because someone says something you don't like. I felt a flash of anger so sharp it almost made me dizzy. I kept my voice low. I'm not walking away because he said something I didn't like, I said. I'm walking away because he admitted he doesn't love me and expects access to my money as payment for existing beside me. Tom scoffed. You'll regret this, he said. Maybe, I replied, but I'd rather be alone than be used. There was a beat of silence. Then he muttered something under his breath, something like ungrateful, and hung up. I set my phone down and just sat there, staring at the ceiling. My hands were cold. And the worst part? Some tiny piece of me still ached. Because I did love Ryan. I loved the version of him I thought was real. The one who kissed my forehead when I fell asleep on the couch. The one who brought me takeout when I worked late. The one who said, I'm proud of you, like it meant something. But now I couldn't stop replaying the way Diane said it so casually. What did he need a job for? You're the one with the money. Like my success wasn't something I earned. Like it was something they were entitled to claim. I tried to tell myself that this was the peak, the worst of it. The family tantrum, the guilt trips, the pressure campaign. I tried to believe that if I just stayed silent, if I just kept working, if I just let them burn themselves out, they'd eventually stop. But the next day, Wednesday, proved I was wrong. Because that's when the call came, the one that made my blood go cold. It was my biggest client, a property management company I'd had a contract with for 4 years. Reliable, valuable, the kind of relationship you protect like gold because it keeps your employees paid. The owner's voice sounded uncomfortable. Hey, Harper, he said. Got a weird call today. My stomach tightened instantly. What kind of call? He hesitated. Someone claiming to be a former employee said you've been cutting corners on installations, he said, using substandard parts, pocketing the difference. For a second, I couldn't breathe, because I knew 2 things at once. 1, those accusations were completely false. And 2, I knew exactly who was trying to burn my life down. For a few seconds after that call ended, I just sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, heart pounding so hard it felt like it might rattle my teeth. I've built my company on one thing above all else: trust. Not flashy branding, not slick marketing. Trust. Property managers don't stay loyal for 4 years because you're charming. They stay because you show up, you do the job right, and you don't cut corners when no one's watching. So hearing that someone, anyone, had tried to poison that trust, it felt like a hand closing around my throat. I stood up slowly and walked to the window, staring out at my driveway like the answer might be parked there. "Who called you?" I asked finally, forcing my voice to stay level. "They didn't leave a name," the owner said. "I figured it was nonsense. You've always run a tight ship. I just wanted to give you a heads up." "I appreciate that," I said, already opening my laptop. "I can send you documentation for every job we've done for you. Serial numbers, manufacturer warranties, inspection reports, everything." "I know," he said. "Just watch your back." When the call ended, the quiet in my office felt different. Sharper, like the air before a storm. I didn't need time to guess who had made that call. Ryan's ex-girlfriend, Lila, had a best friend named Marcy, a dental office receptionist with a weird obsession with exposing people online. She'd once bragged at a party about helping Lila investigate her previous ex's new girlfriend. Screenshots, fake accounts, anonymous tips. At the time, I'd laughed it off as petty drama. Now, it felt like a blueprint. I sat down and did something I should have done sooner. I started documenting. Every text from Ryan, every missed call, every voicemail, timestamps, screenshots, cloud backups. I created a folder labeled Merger Harassment because something in my gut told me this wasn't random emotion. It was strategy. And then, as if on cue, the next shoe dropped. Thursday morning, I woke up to a dozen messages that all said some version of the same thing. "Is this about you? Are you okay? What happened with Ryan?" I opened social media, and there it was. A long post from Ryan's sister, Kelsey. She didn't name me directly. She didn't have to. "Some people don't deserve the love they're given," the post began. "My brother gave everything to someone who threw him away over a misunderstanding. Let this be a lesson about people who seem perfect on the surface but have no loyalty underneath." I felt my jaw tighten as I kept reading. She talked about cold ambition, about women who value money over family, about how men are disposable once they stop being useful. The irony would have been funny if it hadn't been aimed like a knife. Mutual friends started commenting. Some vague support, some heart emojis, some uncomfortable silence. I didn't comment. I didn't defend myself publicly. Because the truth doesn't need a stage, it just needs consistency. But privately, I responded to every single person who asked me directly with the same message. "Ryan told me to my face that he doesn't love me and is only with me for my money. I ended the relationship immediately." That's the full story. Some people replied with shock, some with apologies. A few went quiet after that. And then, just to really complete the character assassination arc, Ryan texted me, "I need to come get my stuff, but I'm not coming alone. I want witnesses. I don't feel safe." I stared at the screen, stunned, afraid of me, the woman who had never raised her voice at him, never thrown anything, never threatened him. I exhaled slowly and typed back, "You can come Saturday at noon. Bring whoever you want. I'll be recording the entire interaction for my protection." There was a long pause before he replied, "Fine." That single word told me everything. Saturday was going to be a show, and they were planning to make me the villain. Saturday arrived like a held breath. Exactly at noon, 2 cars pulled into my driveway. Ryan's, and another one behind it. Out stepped Ryan, followed by his mother, his sister, and a man I'd never seen before. Big guy, broad shoulders, arms crossed immediately, trying very hard to look intimidating. I watched from my front porch, calm on the outside, pulse steady only because I'd prepared. Because standing beside me, leaning casually against my truck, was Mark, my high school friend. Built like a refrigerator, off-duty sheriff's deputy. He wasn't in uniform, but his badge sat plainly on his belt. And the moment Ryan's family saw it, the energy shifted. Ryan stopped short. His mother's mouth tightened. The big guy's arms uncrossed just a little. "Who's that?" Diane demanded, pointing at Mark. "He's here to make sure this goes smoothly," I said evenly. "Same reason you brought whoever that is." The big guy suddenly found the driveway very interesting. I gestured toward the garage. All of Ryan's belongings are boxed up in there. Clothes, personal items, and his share of the kitchen appliances we bought together. I made a list. You're welcome to check it. Kelsey immediately started taking photos. "For documentation," she announced loudly. "Go ahead," I said. "I've got my own." Ryan hovered near the boxes, opening them, making little scoffing noises like he was inspecting a bad return. "You didn't even fold my shirts properly," he muttered. "You're welcome to refold them in your own space," I replied. That's when Diane stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was about to share a secret. "You know you're ruining his life, right?" she whispered. "He has no job, no savings. He was counting on this marriage." I met her eyes. He was counting on my money, I said. There's a difference. And what kind of woman does this to someone she claims to love? She hissed. What kind of man tells his fiancé he doesn't love her and is only with her for money and expects her to still marry him? Her lips pressed together hard. You're going to die alone, she said quietly. I didn't raise my voice. Maybe, I replied, but at least I won't be paying for the privilege. She turned away in disgust. The whole process took about 2 hours. Complaints, photos, whispers, side glances. And then, just when I thought we were done, Ryan walked up to me. You know, he said, lowering his voice, I didn't mean it. I looked at him. I was just testing you, he continued, to see if you really loved me. Testing. The audacity almost knocked the air out of me. Testing me how? I asked. By seeing if you'd fight for us, he said, and you just gave up. I stared at him for the long moment. If that was a test, I said slowly, then you failed it, and so did I, for not seeing through you sooner. His face twisted. That's not fair. It's accurate, I replied. Someone who loves their partner doesn't test them by saying they're only in it for money. He had no response. They left shortly after that. I watched the cars disappear down the street, then went inside, locked the door, and poured myself a drink. I told myself it was finally over. I was wrong. Because Sunday night, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. This is my client's legal representative. She is exploring legal options regarding the emotional and financial damages she has suffered as a result of your actions. Expect formal communication soon. I stared at the screen, and then I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the desperation was finally showing. I didn't reply to the text. I didn't ask for clarification. I didn't argue. I didn't panic. I did the one thing Ryan and his family clearly didn't expect. I called a real lawyer. Monday morning, 8:07 a.m., I was sitting in a glass-walled conference room across from Evan Brooks, a business attorney I'd worked with once before on a contract review. He listened without interrupting while I laid everything out, start to finish. The admission, the wedding cancellation, the harassment, the false business complaint, the social media posts, the lawyer text. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and rubbed his chin slowly. Let me get this straight, he said. Your ex-fiancé admitted, in writing, that he was only with you for money? Yes. And now someone claiming to be his legal representative is threatening you with a damages lawsuit because you didn't marry him? Yes. Evan exhaled a short laugh. This is harassment at best, he said, and potentially extortion. My stomach tightened. Extortion? Threatening legal action to pressure someone into giving money when there's no legitimate claim, he said calmly, especially when paired with attempts to damage your business. I blinked. You think the lawyer might not even be real? I'd bet on it, he replied, and even if they were, they'd be reckless. He slid a legal pad toward me. I want every text, every voicemail, screenshots of the posts, timeline, dates, names. I'd already prepared most of it. That realization alone, that I'd instinctively protected myself, felt like a small victory. Over the next 2 days, we built a clean, brutal timeline. Wednesday afternoon, Evan sent a response to the number that had texted me. Professional, cold, devastating. Our client has documented evidence of your client admitting the relationship was entered into under false pretenses for financial gain. Additionally, we have evidence of harassment, business interference, and defamation. Should your client proceed with legal action, we will counterclaim accordingly and report any misrepresentation of legal authority to the appropriate regulatory bodies. Cease all contact immediately. I read it twice. Then I exhaled for the first time in days. For a full 24 hours, there was nothing. No calls, no texts, no posts. Silence. Then Diane called. You're really going to sue him after everything you've put him through? She demanded. I haven't sued anyone, I replied calmly. I responded to a threat. He's devastated, she said. He can't eat. He can't sleep. He's been crying for days. I didn't raise my voice. That's not my responsibility anymore. You're heartless, she snapped. I'm protecting myself, I said, from someone who admitted he was using me. She hung up. And just like that, the power shifted. 2 weeks later, everything had unraveled on their side. The lawyer who texted me? Not a lawyer. He was Kelsey's boyfriend, a paralegal, who had used a burner number and hoped intimidation would work. Evan filed a formal complaint with his firm. I don't know if he got fired. I do know he was pulled off all legal work immediately. Kelsey dumped him a week later. Ironic doesn't even begin to cover it. The false complaint to my client went nowhere. I sent over full documentation, part numbers, warranties, inspection reports. The owner apologized for even entertaining the call. Then he extended our contract for another year. As a gesture of trust, The social media drama fizzled out fast once people heard the truth. A few friends who had hesitated reached out quietly. I didn't ask them to pick sides. I just told them what happened. Ryan? He moved back in with his parents. I heard he's struggling to find a job. Apparently, he quit his last one with a dramatic all-staff email about choosing love over labor. Turns out employers don't love that energy. His financial security, the one he felt so smug about, it lasted 12 hours. From the moment he admitted he was only with me for money to the moment I told him to pack a bag. 12 hours. That's what 2.5 years of pretending got him. Do I feel bad? A little. Not for the consequences, those were earned, but for the fact that he genuinely believes love is transactional, that relationships are investments with expected returns. That's a lonely way to move through the world. The wedding deposits are gone, about $4,000. The engagement ring is in a drawer. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. Selling it feels strange. Keeping it feels strange too. For now, it just sits there, quiet proof that I walked away when I still could. I changed my locks, updated my security cameras, added extra verification to my business accounts. Not because I'm afraid, because I've learned never to assume someone won't try again when they've got nothing left to lose. People ask me if I regret how I handled it, if I should have given him another chance, tried counseling, heard him out. Here's the truth. You can't therapy someone into loving you. You can't counsel someone into seeing you as more than a paycheck. If he'd said it in anger and immediately looked horrified, maybe. But he said it with satisfaction, with relief, like he was finally done pretending. You don't come back from that. And more importantly, you shouldn't have to. I loved him. That's what hurts. But I wasn't investing in the same currency he was. And when someone tells you who they really are, believe them. Even when it costs you the future